Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how to connect with Google Sheet using Choreo Google Sheet connector. In here, I'm on the shared organization which is shared with the integrate first user and myself. So beyond integration is the private one. So these are the services we have created on our previous videos. So I'm go to Salesforce service now and show you how to connect with Google Sheet using Choreo. And in here, as you can see, we have previously uh, retrieved the account from Salesforce using Choreo Salesforce connector. In the right side, in the code, you can see the query, select accounts, ID, name. So in here, the get query result response have the JSON payload where the query results are stored. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that payload, read the name of each account and store it in a Google Sheet. In order to connect with Google Sheet, we need to add the connector to our integration scenario. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First, we need to add the Google Sheet endpoint. When you click on the plus icon as usual and go to the API calls, you can search for the Google Sheet connector. So after you click on the Google Sheet connector, on the right side, you can see the methods available for the Google Sheet connector. If you click on the method, it will give you the idea of what are the parameters you have to pass, what kind of information you can get out of it likewise. Okay, I'm going to close this, and in here, as you can see, you have two options to connect with Google Sheets. Either you can select it manual configuration or you can select using auth. So I'm going to use auth. Okay, in here I'm going to select my account. Okay, you have to give the permission to access to your Google Drive files and especially edit and create your Google Sheets, because Google Sheet connector needs to have those permission in order to integrate. Alright, as you can see now we have connected with Google Sheet using my account, and we have created the endpoint. So what we are going to do is using this endpoint, we are going to add some values to our Google Sheet. So in here you can see the Google Sheet endpoint is automatically added to our code. So you don't need to manually do any of these configurations. Okay, since we don't have any changes, let's cancel this one. Let's add the method to add some value to the Google Sheet. You can click on the plus icon here and go to API calls, you can see the sheet endpoint we have created. Click on that one. So under that, you can search for the operation which you can append some value to our Google Sheet. Our requirement is to append some value to the Google Sheet. So I'm going to use append row to sheet method here. So which will accept spreadsheet ID, sheet name and some string array as values. I'm going to get the ID from the sheet I have already created. So this is the ID from the URL and it is a string parameter, and I need to copy the sheet name. Then as raw values, first I'm going to add some, let's add some sample values here so we can have an idea on how to append the values to the Google Sheet. So it's a string array we need to add. So let's say appending some values. I mean that's as a separate strings. Okay, so we have some optional parameters to add. We don't need to add those values at the moment. So I'm going to keep those as it is. Let's check the source code. Alright, in here append row to sheet method is there, which we have added from the design view. Let's run this service and check whether the integration is working. There aren't any values in the sheet at the moment. Let's wait a bit with the services. Okay, service is up. And let's run the method. Let's check the sheet now. Okay, the values are there. Since our Google Sheet integration is working as expected, we can now try adding the Salesforce data which we retrieve from the Salesforce connector to our Google Sheet. So in here, Google Sheet is expecting those values as string array. So what we need to do is we need to get our Salesforce account name into string array. We need to loop through the accounts we are retrieving from Salesforce to the get query result response variable. So let's save this and try adding the for loop from the design view. So after the variable we have created, we are going to add a for each loop. Okay, I think there's no option to select the variable type. Let's add the account name variable as well. So in here we have JSON. Okay. All right. Yeah, I need to change something from the source code because at the moment there are some limitations in the design view. This has to be JSON, and we need to cast the get query result response to JSON array, and as you can remember, it comes as comes inside the records JSON array, so we need to add that as well. So then in here, let's check if the account is not empty, and yes, we need to convert that to the string as well because it comes as a JSON. And then we can push that values to the array we have created. And let's pass that array to the method. Okay, I think we have done the integration which we get the query result response values and then add it to the array, then pass it to our method. Okay, let's delete these values and run the service and check if it is working. Okay, we are getting Salesforce data. Let's check the Google Sheet as well. Salesforce account names are now appended to the Google Sheet. So likewise, you can integrate multiple or different systems using Choreo. It's really easy. So this is a really simple example I have demoed here. So if you look at the design view of our integration, you can clearly see what we have did here. So first we have the Salesforce endpoint, then we get the data to our query response variable, then we have the Google Sheet endpoint, then we loop through the Salesforce data, and this is if condition which we check if it is blank. Then we have append row to sheet method, which the Salesforce account names will append to the Google Sheet. This is kind of a real world scenario which we have implemented here. So For an example, if someone wants to retrieve some data from Salesforce and manipulate those data, edit to a Google Sheet, and want to share it with someone else or with the team, or send it to someone outside, or send it as a regular notification to an email group. Likewise, we can use this integration. So I'll explain more complex scenarios in my later videos, how to use Choreo and how to use these kind of connectors and do integrations.